This is InFocus Christian News and Current Affairs.
Hello, welcome to Record in Focus. I'm Ken Kingston.
And I'm Theodora Amamuya. On today's program, we're going to get an insight into people living some very different lives, starting with Eric and Monique.
Oh yes, they're a lovely couple, aren't they? Yeah. Musicians who for quite a while now have been travelling around, living by faith and sharing their music. Let's take a look at their interview now. Well, it's great to have in the studio today some people who have called themselves musicianaries. Is that the right word?
Yes.
That is it, yeah.
Yep. Eric and Monique, thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
So what is a musicianary? Help us out.
A musicianary is basically combining the words a musician and a missionary.
Okay.
So that's our main focus, just to be missionaries for God, just to speak about Him through our music.
Okay, so what does your average week or month look like, Eric?
Well, it's really a lot of time in the office, actually. Monique's doing a lot of the booking, planning for future tours, calling people, emailing people. Yeah, if we're on tour, on the road. Yeah.
So you guys are doing this full-time now, aren't you? So full-time, concerts, touring, travelling. Yeah,
we started, what was it, 3 years ago, full-time?
Yeah, nearly 3 years ago. We started doing this full-time, which involves what Eric said, being in the office, but also being on the road around Australia. We still have to get to Northern Territory, but we've been to all the other states.
And you've been overseas as well, is that right?
Yeah, we've been able to do some touring in America as well as in Europe and New Zealand.
Is that exciting, or some people hate travel, some people love it?
We love travel.
It.
Yeah, we love travel. It's sort of, a lot of people say to us, oh man, it must be so cool seeing all those things. And a lot of the time we're actually driving past all the awesome sites because we have to get to a church to do a concert, so we miss out on a few things. But the days where we have off, it's just great.
Yeah. Now, you said you've been doing this for about 3 years. Can I take you back there about 3 years ago? You guys were having a real struggle with like lifestyle, materialism, all this sort of stuff. Can you explain what was going on there and what helped you make your decision to take the direction you have?
Well, that actually happened 6 years ago.
Oh, that was even longer ago.
Yeah, it was even longer ago. We were kind of struggling because we were both working for God. I was a high school teacher at an Adventist school and Eric was doing youth pastoring. But I don't know if you've ever had that where you just feel like something's missing, where in your heart it doesn't feel like you're truly following in every single part of your life. And we felt that way, and so we just started to pray about it, pray where God wanted us to go, and He ended up leading us and taking a whole year off and just literally giving a year to God.
Wow.
Which led us to volunteer in Ukraine for 6 months and then to go to a Bible college called Arise in America.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a real spiritual revival for me. I was listening to a lot of sermons on faith, and there was one guy that just went out and made all these amazing decisions based on faith, and I thought, man, am I doing that? Am I living by faith, or am I just going with the status quo? So, yeah.
It's often struck me actually that, we look at Jesus and His disciples, touring around Galilee, doing this itinerant thing, and you think, how does that even relate to how we live our lives today? And honestly, the only thing that I've found any connection with is a touring band. Okay. That's, you know what I mean? It is sort of like Jesus and His disciples moving around, living by faith. Does it strengthen your faith? Touring?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. It's definitely been a progressive thing though. Like in order for us 6 years ago, in order for us to go to Arise, we didn't have any money at all. We were in Ukraine. We had $200 in our bank account and we needed quite a bit to not only get to America, but also pay for the tuition and live there, doing the college. So we were praying about it. We let people know, this is what we're thinking about doing. And over the next few months, slowly through maybe $200, $500, sometimes a couple thousand, we got the exact amount of money that we needed to go to this Bible college.
Wow.
And yet when we got there, it was only about 1 month before the end of the course, and we were down to $55. And even though we had seen everything that God had given to us in the past, and God does provide, He does look after everything that we need, we were met with this decision at church this one morning. All that year, this year we had given to God, we said whatever money we have in our wallet, we would give to Him. No matter how little, no matter how much. Because, God promises I believe it's in Malachi, where if we, give Him our offerings and our tithes, that He will open the storehouses of heaven. And God says, try me in this. And we thought, okay, we'll do that, we'll try this. But when we got down to our last $55, we were in church and the offering was called, and I opened my purse and there were $50 in
Just
there.
happened to be that.
I had left the $5 at home.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, it should be the 5. Why is the 50
I know,
there?
it's like,
Yeah,
why
oh,
did
okay,
I
the
bring
wrong
50?
note was in
Yeah,
there.
the
Yeah, okay.
wrong note. And so I looked at Eric and I said, you know, well, what are we going to do? And he's like, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to give this $50.
And that was the commitment you'd made.
Yeah, it was the commitment.
Yeah.
And so it was literally like this horror story film moment where everything went slow and there was this doom music, you know, and there was all these nerves, and we just like looked at each other and we had a prayer. And as soon as we finished praying, we just knew we had to do it.
Mm-hmm.
We had to give this money. And so the offering plate came by, you know, we gave the $50 and instantly we felt at peace.
Wow.
Then later that night, we were doing this community concert, this community evangelism thing. I was one of the greeters at the door. This guy I had never seen walked through, shook his hand. When he went away, I looked down, there was two $50 notes in my hand.
Oh, wow.
Double.
And I raced,
Double your money.
I raced after him, I'm like, you forgot something. And he's like, no, I don't know you, but God impressed on me to give you this.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa.
Incredible.
No way.
Wow.
But then, like later on that night, one of our teachers came and gave us an envelope saying, this person got impressed to give you this money, but they didn't want you to know who it was. And it was another two $50 notes.
There you go. Wow.
Like,
that's incredible.
amazing.
So amazing.
Yeah. So Eric, is living by faith just about money? I mean, you're touring now. Obviously, money's a part of it. But how do you find your faith is affected?
Just did as a deeper level. We're writing songs and we're touring. We're hearing so many amazing stories of how people were blessed by the concert or the music, and just having to make that step of faith and to plan out a whole tour where you don't know how it will work out. You just have like 10, 12 dates, and like we don't charge fees. It's all faith driven. So a lot of the churches will give like a love offering or something like that, but
a donation sometimes.
Yeah. So
CD sales.
just the whole process of having to step out over and over again, increases your faith.
Really
it does for me anyway.
Yeah.
But there'll be times like that story where you're like, no, we can't do it. This is silly. Why are we doing this? You know, and no matter how many times God has worked in the past, it's just you doubt, you question.
And I notice one of the songs on your new album here, Everlasting, is Doubting Thomas.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Now, let's just talk about your music for a little while. Your first album had some fairly sort of heavy theological, Laodicea, the Sanctuary, all sort of theological stuff. Would you describe this album as being similar or different?
In some ways it's similar, in other ways it's different. It's a little bit more personal with the doubting, and the first song on the album is called Temporary, and it's about why do I love this world so much, and like why can't I give it up? If heaven's my home, why don't I live like that?
Wow.
Yeah, so I would say it's very personal.
In the first part of the album, and then as we go to the second part of the album, it has more of those heavy biblical things. Like,
so it's still quite strongly biblical.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. Well, look, just because we're out of time, but just as we do finish, let's just have a quick listen just to one of your clips there. This is Orion.
Lofty Mount Zion, city of light, praise Him forever. No end in sight. Beauty no words can describe. Beauty no words can describe. Heaven, the gates open wide. Heaven, shining so bright.
Hey, thanks guys for that. So where can we get hold of of this album through your website, ericandmonique.com,
Yeah,
is that right?
ericandmonique.com. It's on all the digital platforms, well, most.
Yeah.
iTunes, Google Play. Yeah, our website where you buy it off their digital version as well. So
Yeah. Oh, that's excellent. Hey, thanks so much for being here, and may God continue to bless your ministry. And thanks for your inspirational faith stories. It's incredible stuff.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you straight after the break.
Father, I can't connect the dots through the little that I understand. What words can I say to reach you? How can I know that you are there, listening, hearing, caring? My words are broken, weak, and powerless. But I know your power is limitless. What can I say?
Hello, it's great to have you back. Now, Ken, this next segment we're going to see, I think might be relevant to someone of your age and stage in life.
My age and stage. What do you mean by that, young lady?
Look, Ken, it's time to face facts. How many years of marriage will you be celebrating this year?
It's not, look, just 20. Only 20.
20! That's a lot. Look, just watch this next segment with Monica Galash and Trafford Fisher on the second half of marriage. I think you might be surprised how relevant it is to you.
Trafford, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you,
Trafford,
Monica.
I have a question I've been meaning to ask you.
Okay.
I was in a bookshop recently and I saw a title called The Second Half of Marriage.
Hey.
Now, I haven't even been in the first half of marriage, so I'm a little bit confused about what that even is.
Second half of marriages. I guess what it suggests it's the it's the bit that follows the first half. No, just
Where's
kidding.
the halfway mark?
Yeah. Oh, there's no mark. That's the drag.
Oh,
eh?
okay.
Okay. But look, it's when often you have teens that are just about gone,
Okay.
gone. Although that's a lengthy time
Yeah,
period
it's getting
these
longer
days.
and longer.
Aging parents. Okay, so it was referred to as the sandwich generation, where you're sandwiched between, the aging, the growing teens and the aging parents. But generally, it's that second half when you're 40s, 50s,
Okay.
and you're having to deal with, hey, this is a whole new way of living because the kids are gone. It's the old Darby and Joan for those who are married.
Empty nest?
Empty nest is
Okay.
another term, but it's about the thing is we've got to do is we've been focusing heavily on the kids. I remember I did a program one time and a lady with tears in her eyes said to me, Trav, I've really dawned on me. I'm not sure whether I'm able to live with my husband for the rest of my life. And she just said, they just said goodbye to their last child. So it's about recognising, hey, we've invested heavily in the kids all these years. We've been into career. Now we've got to change direction. We've got to start focusing in on us. So it's got to be partner focused rather than child focused. That's one of the things we need to do.
So what are some pointers for that refocusing of your second half?
We've got to do some let going.
Okay.
We've got to let go some past disappointments. We've got to forgive each other and make a commitment to this second half.
Okay.
So we carry with us a lot of pain, maybe a lot of disappointments. We say, okay, it's cool. Let's put them aside as much as we can. We don't try and bury them. They're there, but we say, hey, let's commit to making this a go. We move on. Number two is that we refocus on moving from being child-focused to partner-focused. So this is about us now.
I see, yeah.
Not solely, you've still got it because we've got ageing parents. So when it's that changing of the role, we say, okay, now may have to spend more time with the parents, but the risk, again, is because we've focused on the kids, which is fabulous, we haven't focused on us and we can feel empty. And a lot of marriages are vulnerable at this stage because they haven't invested in themselves as a couple.
Which is funny because it actually sounds quite nice, time to focus on yourselves.
Yeah, and it's a great thing if you can do it. But, I guess that's the very point is that's what they have to do.
Okay.
So it's developing some positive communication, getting that closer, keeping intimacy at the top of the list.
Okay.
We've got to keep our physical and social intimacy tight together and build some us times, as well as taking care of because we never stop being parents and we'll never stop being children, so our ageing parents and whatever, oh, you're okay. So we take care of them, but we've got to really start focusing on us. It's now our time.
Okay, great. Thank you so much,
Thank
Trafford.
you.
Thanks for watching and we'll see you right after the break.
The media targets our girls with destructive messages. But is there an alternative? Yes, it's Gigi. Gigi is a great new magazine for teenage girls that uplifts good Christian values. Finally, a way to pass on our values in a way the teenage girls in our life will love. So give a subscription to a teenage girl you love today. Visit gigimagazine.com.au. That's gigimagazine.com.au.
Hello, welcome back. Now, Theodora, I think that probably one of the most inspiring people that we've had on Record in Focus is Pastor Paul Chesler.
Yes, I remember him. He was so relaxed and so positive and humble. He was a real gentleman.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he? And for me, I guess that's quite surprising because, you know, he lived through World War II. It was a very traumatic experience for him. And still, you know, he could be like that.
Yeah, I wonder what made the change. I guess that's the point of his story.
Yeah.
Let's take a look.
Well, this year, 2015, we remember the 70th anniversary of one of the darkest periods of human history, and that is the Second World War. And here with me today is a man who lived through that as a young boy and a teenager, and that is Pastor Paul Chesler. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here.
Now, you've done what a lot of people have been afraid to do, and that's to actually talk about the difficulties that went on in your family and in your town during the Second World War. It's very, very painful stories for some people, but you've actually written this book, No Heil Hitler, which I found very, very powerful. Can you give us just some idea of what the Nazi occupation meant for you in your family, in your village in Poland?
Now, when the Nazi occupation came, 1939, and soon we were targeted as a first church because they closed our churches. There came a SS trooper to our church on Sabbath morning, and he said, you can have only one sermon, one hymn, one prayer. And then they never permitted to come here again for any worshiping purpose.
Wow.
And they associated us with the Jewish people because we kept the seventh-day Sabbath.
Okay.
Not the first day of
so
the week.
your church was a Seventh-day Adventist church?
Yeah, we were Adventist church.
Were other churches in your village closed down?
Oh, yeah, there are plenty of other churches. But we were mostly focused because they felt they kept the Saturday as the Jews, so they must be related together. And they accused us about that. Not only the German, but many others.
Boy, okay.
And so that started the problem.
Yeah. So during this period, I mean, your family was separated. Your father had to go away for a while. Your brother had to go away for a while. You even had to run away for 2 years to be a shepherd off in a mountain. That would have been a hard time for your family.
Very hard time, and mainly the reason was that we were brought up as Christian, and the greeting Heil Hitler comes from Heiland, which means Savior. And my father taught us that we should never, this is a sort of blasphemy, and we should never use that as a greeting. So we said good morning, guten Tag, guten Abend, guten Morgen, but never Heil Hitler.
Which is why you named your book.
That's why. That's
No
the reason
Hitler.
for the title.
Yeah. Your mother in particular was very strong on this, wasn't she?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, boy. So can you just tell us maybe one of those experiences that just sticks in your mind as maybe when you might have been very afraid and you saw, I guess, God come through for you? Because I know time and time again you felt God was with you through this period.
Now, there are five stories which I would call now or never.
Yeah.
We have to speak to God now or never. But the one, it was very, very first one, which was very frightening. When on Friday evening we had a Sabbath beginning worship as a family, and suddenly there was the German Gestapo with the soldier surrounded this house and knocked strongly the door. My father opened the door. Where have you been? Where have you been? And he said, we were inside. He slapped him at the face because he said, you are lying. Now, we didn't know what was going on, and they put us together, the family, against the wall in one room, and the German SS trooper with the machine gun and the other were searching the house and the farm around the bars where the cows were and everywhere, because they noticed that we are harboring somebody.
They thought maybe there were some Polish partisans or freedom fighters who were hiding on your property.
That's right. They have seen somebody. We later found out. And so, as he kept us against the gun, covering us against the machine gun, every now and then he said, "This is your last day. This is your last moment." So the kids started crying, "Mommy, Mommy, Mommy." And he shouted again and he said, "Stop these kids crying and talking, because that will only speed up the end." So Mommy tried to cool them down, but that was really shocking. We felt that this is our family end time. And that was unbelievable painful, not knowing any future. So that my mother breathed a prayer to God and said, "God, now we need you." That's the end. And the situation changed.
Okay.
And it's described in the book.
Yeah,
which
boy.
I cannot go into detail, but the reader will find it.
I mean, they're incredible stories. I mean, your house was, how far from the Auschwitz camp?
About 80 kilometers,
About 80
75.
kilometers. So sometimes you had people coming through your town who'd actually escaped from Auschwitz, which I didn't even know happened. And one man who was actually from your town who you prayed for, and he was actually managed to be released, which is, that's a miracle in my book.
That was our neighbor.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I went to Auschwitz when I was 17. I visited there when I was in Poland. You also visited Auschwitz at about the same age after the war.
Yeah.
And you said you found that very traumatic, and you struggled a lot with, I guess today we would call it post-traumatic stress disorder. Would you call it?
The complex of fear. After the war, I couldn't, I was going down the street and somebody from the opposite side approached me. I turned left or right into the snow or forest because he's a potential killer. That was the complex which I have to work for a long time to release myself.
But it seems it was love and beauty and God that really made the difference to you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a girl, wasn't it?
That little girl, and I thank God for that. That experience changed completely my outlook upon world and people and upon God.
That you realise there is good in the world and there is beauty in the world. You went on to be a pastor for many years. Do you find that the painful times that you went through and the trauma that you felt was helpful in relating to other people who were going through hard times?
Oh yeah, in a case that I could understand better people, that helped me. In another case, it was that I was more patient with people because somebody was patient with me.
Yeah, sure. Now, this book actually is the winner of Australia's National Seniors Literary Prize.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
Now, I had a friend who was helping me a little bit, and he knew that this organization in Australia every year evaluate books, manuscripts.
It's unpublished manuscript. Yeah, okay.
And they received 55 different manuscripts from different writers from all over Australia. And mine was one. But when I was submitting this manuscript, I was advised to delete a little bit this, as they call it, the religious propaganda.
Not so religious, please, they said. Okay.
Because they will not be happy with it. This book will be not evaluated as much worth. And I said, no way. I will betray my God, I will betray my friend, my family, many people who are looking to me as describing the intervention of God in their life.
Oh, that's right. I mean, this is a man who stood up to the Nazis. I mean, a couple of book editors aren't going to make you afraid, are they?
And so can you imagine when we were invited for the presentation meeting of the book which won the first prize. I received personal letter and the address where should I come into Melbourne. And then when this was one of the evaluating professor, he said, we received 56 manuscript, we reduce it to 11, and now I will just say a few words about this 11. So he said 11, 10, 9, 8, and I said, oh my God, I will be somewhere in the 20s. And never expecting that.
Yes.
And he came to 2, and he shouted, Paul Chesler, no Heil Hitler, first prize. I was incredible surprise.
Wow.
Incredible surprise to me. Shock, and then thanksgiving to God, because they told me, remove from this book this religious aspect, because this book will not get any attention. I said, no way. And yet this professor, one of these professors, came up to me and he said, Paul, this woman in chapter 25, she must have a great faith in God and trust in God.
Boy.
Even that was impressing him.
Yeah.
So I'm very glad that it happened this way.
That's great. Well, praise God for your faithfulness in standing strong for that and getting that recognition. If you are interested in getting a hold of this book, you can find it at hopeshop.com. You can also find it, as we say, wherever good Christian books are sold. It is around the place here in Australia. So, hey, thank you so much, Paul Chesler. I really appreciate your time and thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you. Pleasure to do so.
We'll be back straight after the break.
We live our lives running around, rarely stopping to ask ourselves where we're going and what our final destination is. In the end, our lives become little more than routine. Step beyond and discover a path that offers comfort, love and hope. Visit hopeoffer.com/step beyond or call 1300 300 389 for your free copy today.
Planning your future can be a daunting task. What you want to do, who you want to be, and the road ahead can often be unpredictable. No one really knows what the future holds. Avondale. It's education designed for life.
Hello, thanks so much for being a part of the program today. We're out of time, but we'll see you next time for more Record in Focus.
Don't forget that all our videos are available at our website, record.net.au, and if you want to stay in touch, you can do so via email, Facebook or Twitter.
Check it out. All the best. Have a great week.
And God bless.